are you falling just 3 feet short from being the person, the agent that you actually want to be? And so, Chris, can you kind of touch on really quickly what you were talking about yesterday, and just give us kind of a brief rundown before we actually jump into it?
Yeah, I think from talking to so many agents, I'm having conversations every day, agents in our organization, agents in the group, agents across the country, and it seems like they're expecting more out of what they're doing, and they've kind of sold themselves on the fact that they're doing what it takes to become successful, but maybe the success isn't happening at the level that they would like it to be. Soon as I start asking questions, I start identifying, and really what the more important thing is, they start identifying all the holes in their game, and they start realizing they're kind of sabotaging themselves. And it's like with even coaching the agents here in the group in Houston, the people that get the burnout are the ones that are doing 100 contacts a week. The ones that aren't getting burnout and getting all the results are the ones that are hitting 200 contacts a week. And so you start finding out that if things are actually working when you're taking massive action, you don't get burnout. You find more success. You get obsessed with refining the process. It's when you're half-assing your process and you're stopping 3 feet from gold is where all this bullshit happens in your head.
And a lot of those people, Chris, are the people who you have to coach to show up every day, right?
Yeah.
The people who are trying to make themselves silent, like that Homer Simpson meme where he's kind of pulling back into the bushes, right?
Yeah.
Those are most agents who are getting the 100 contacts. And they do that because they don't really want to be asked the tough questions, right? They don't want to send in their tracking sheet because they don't want to feel like an asshole sending in 0, right? I didn't do shit today, right? And it's convenient because when it comes time to actually go face to face with their results, nobody likes to say, man, I didn't do the job, right?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't do all that I could do. Man, I was really, really inconsistent. Instead, you make up lies to yourself that say, man, I'm putting in the work, right? This just isn't working. Man, prospecting just doesn't work. Even though they've got a sea of evidence around them proving that idea is false, it's like, I would rather sit in the comfort of thinking I'm a badass, thinking that I'm going all in, but really not exposing myself to the discomfort that comes with leveling up, because that's what the process of leveling up is, right? It's an uncomfortable experience week after week, having to look yourself in the mirror and going, man, how can I get better this week? Oh man, you're right. I'm not as consistent here. Or you're right. I need to make adjustments here. That's a hard thing to expose yourself to every week, because it makes you feel like, fuck man, even though I'm trying, I'm just not doing it good enough. But there's a huge upside to that, which is you're growing and you're filling in the gaps each and every single week. So Chris, where do you feel, you talked about the difference between an agent who's putting in 100 contacts. Raise your voice if you're a 100 contact a week type agent on the call right now. Can you just raise your voice and be like, hey man, honestly, that's me. I'm a 100 contact a week type agent. Don't be scared, homie.
Liars.
Sienna.
Okay.
Weller.
20.
Martinez.
John Jacobs.
Yeah.
And out of those people who said that, how many of you guys are content with the results that you're getting? How many of you guys are like, man, I'm in a really good spot, right? And how many of you guys are like, I need to really level up my business. I really need to level up and start getting better. Honestly, 100 contact a week agents, you guys are not in the position that you want to be in right now. And so, Chris, can you kind of break down the differences between, let's just say the agent type, the 100 contact a week type agent and the 200 contact a week type agent?
Well, I would first like to say the 100 contact a week agent, somebody's making, in reality, I think 150 or less, but let's just play it over here on the 100 or less side on the contacts. They are typically the person who wants a lot more out of what they're doing, and they're expecting to get this high return when the 200 contact person is expecting more out of themselves, right? And so you have to be in this position where you go, hey, if I'm doing 100 contacts a week, there's only a couple reasons why I think 100 contacts a week would be more than okay. Hey, are you already producing at the level that you want to be producing at, and you are doing what's called maintenance? You are having retention. You're going, hey, I'm doing 40 deals a year. I love the 40 deals a year. I love my lifestyle, making great income. I'd like to make a little bit more, but I'm not trying to get to 60. I'm not trying to get to 75. I like the 40. Okay, 15, 20 contacts a day will keep you with retention on that. But if you're in this phase where you're like, damn, I've only sold one home this year. I've sold 5 homes this year, 7 homes this year, and I was supposed to be on track by now to sell 15 or 20, then you are now behind the ball. You're behind the 8 ball. You have to start playing catch up. And then you need to ask yourself, like, how many afternoons am I going on listing appointments? How many days am I really showing properties? Like, what am I really doing with my time? And you find that the 100 contact a week agents are trying to give themselves this opportunity. And I think this is a great way to put it in perspective. You know, some people go hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, you don't see them. And they kind of have a lot of excuses, and they don't really get into reality until Sunday night hits. And they're like, oh shit, I really should have capitalized a lot more throughout that week. And that's why in a minute, I want to be able to identify, like, let's not even look at it on a throughout the week basis or throughout the month basis. Let's actually go through what a person's regimen should look like who is in this growth model, in this growth mode, and like, where are the holes in your game? Because you may be the person telling yourself, hey, I'm prospecting from 8 to 12, but you're falling short in ways that you just don't understand. And what I want to do, like, even if you're listening to this and you're on this call or on this Zoom and you're having pretty good results doing 20 contacts a day on average, then I would be, I think it's safe to say you may be living on the mercy of somebody, because it takes more to actually start producing. And so what I mean by that is, like, maybe you're starting to actually take a good amount of business now, 9 months in, 8 months in, 12 months in, to 20 contacts a day. But if you had to pay all your bills, you had 100% responsibilities, nobody was going to do anything for you whatsoever, would 20 contacts have got you the results in the time that you needed it? In most cases, you have a husband that's making money, a wife that's making money, a mom or daddy that's letting you live in the house, paying like, there's things that are taking place where if you had 100% responsibility, you would probably be forced just by nature to make 40 plus contacts a day. Pretty much, hey, if I don't have appointments, I'm talking to people. If I don't have appointments, I'm door knocking. If I don't have appointments, I'm doing this or that. I can't wait for some Instagram reel to make me a celebrity. You know what I mean? Like, I got to get after it.
Mhm. You know what I've noticed, Chris, about like, now that we've kind of separated the two, the 100 contact and the 200 contact, it's not hard to get 100 contacts a week, right? Anybody here disagree with me? Can anybody say that it's really difficult if you go all in to get 100 contacts a week? I mean, honestly, I'd love to hear it if somebody could be like, counter argument, actually, Cooley, if anybody can say that, can you speak now or forever hold your peace? Okay, awesome. So it's pretty easy to get 100 contacts a week, right? What's hard is getting 200. And I would go as far to say, Chris, as to say, you got to push yourself to get 200 contacts a week. It's not easy, right? The really cool thing about making it not easy for yourself, guys, if you're taking it easy, you're getting 100 contacts a week and you're failing and you're not getting the results, it's no big deal, right? It's not that big a deal. When you put yourself in a situation where you're going all in, right? When you're really testing yourself as far as time, energy, and effort, this is where you take exception to not having success. This is where you're like, because a lot of people, 100 contacts a year, right? They don't call me asking me, hey man, like, how do I get better here? What do I need to do here? They're happy in 100 contact a year land, small minimum result land. Like, they're happy there. When you're putting 200 contacts a week in, like, you expect something for that, Case in point, Chris, you've got Ashley Deep down there in Texas, right? She's on pace to doing like 40 or 50 listings this year. Towards, like, she went through this complacent cycle where she wasn't pushing herself to get that many contacts, and you don't hear from her, right? Lately, especially, she's really turned it on. And this girl's calling me every single day going, what the fuck is my problem? Like, how am I not getting this from this? What do I do different? This morning she called me. She's like, you know what, Cooley? I think I figured it out. It's my tonality, right? I'm not closing at the end. I'm not giving direction. And you know what? As a matter of fact, on my listing presentation, I'm not giving direction with confidence either. I'm just kind of waiting. And you get obsessed, guys, with trying to figure out what the fuck is broken so that you can capitalize on all of that hard work. I think it's fair to say from everybody on this call, it is unacceptable to go all in and not get a result. I'll repeat that again, right? For most people, if you extend yourself in effort, if you extend yourself in energy, it is unacceptable to not get a great rate of return on that investment. How many of you guys believe me when I say that, or vibe with that, or understand exactly what I mean there? It's unacceptable, right? And so people always say, like, in order to, like, why we make you guys pay $25 to come to our event, right? Do you guys think that we're doing that to get rich? Do you guys think that we're making any money off of that? Anybody? Wild guess?
No.
$25 a ticket? Yeah, we're making about $0 and coming out on the negative, right? The reason why we charge $25 for the event is, can anybody guess why? Guesses? Anybody? Anybody? Anybody?
Accountability.
Put skin in the game.
Accountability.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. It puts skin in the game, right? And so, Chris, when we're talking about the effort that it takes to make 200 contacts, do you think that that time, that energy commitment to get 200 contacts puts enough skin in the game for people to actually dive more into their coaching, dive more into like, how do I get better results, dive more into their business to make sure that they're getting a return?
Yeah, you know, I think the best way to say it is the 100 contact a week agents are looking to get lucky, and the 200 contacts a week agents are looking to make their luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and the thing is like, it'd be different if you had appointments all the time and you're doing a ton of business. And I do think you could be in a position where, like, guys, I was never a 40 contact a day guy. But the thing about it is like, I better have 3 appointments by the time I talk to 15 people every day. And if you don't have that ability to force that success upon yourself, then you are going to have to do the work. There's people that go to the gym, guys, that are so genetically gifted that they could look at a weight and their biceps are going to grow. But if that's not you, are you going to just bitch and complain about it and just hope that one day things are going to change? Or are you going to get your ass to work, right? And so, you know, and also, like, I like to say this, man, there's guys and people that we have that make 40 contacts in a day, but it's not like the same 40 contacts as somebody else, not even just a skill level. I'm looking at it more from an energy sense. So can I kind of break down what I mean about the 3 feet from gold, Cooley?
Yes, amazing, please.
So let me go through this day. So you have, you know, write this down real quick. You really got, in essence, 3 parts of your day. So you have your morning. I want you to write down my morning, okay? And then you're gonna have your, you know, your midday, and you're gonna have your, you know, afternoon or evening, whatever the case is, right? So you have these 3 parts of your day. This is how I want you to understand where you are falling short from all the gold that's just right there at your fingertips, okay? So raise your hand if you're a part of the Breakfast Club virtually every morning. Raise your hand. Amen, right? Well, now keep your hand raised, like keep your hand raised on there. And all the people that are doing like I can see your face, like the picture, but it's not you. I'd love to see your face on here. But like, keep your hands up, right? Well, keep your hands risen.
Hey, Chris, can I just stop you right there for just 1 second? Hey guys, can we show our guests a little bit of respect and pop our cameras on?
Yeah.
I know some of you guys might be like doing other activities right now, but I guarantee you those with the camera off are the exact type of people that need to be writing that shit down, need to be present, and need to be here, right?
Yeah.
So let's get our cameras on for our guest, please, because he could be anywhere in the world right now. Instead, he's here with you guys, right?
I love
Patrick Photo, Mai Yang. Come on, guys. Let's stop participating in this kind of culture. Don't look at me. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah,
and y'all look way better than me. So, you know, I'd rather just not be looking at myself and Cooley the whole time, right? And Michelle's tan. And so, you know, so what I want you to do is, hey, raise your hand if you participate in the Breakfast Club, right? Now, keep your hand raised if you role play with another agent for 25 minutes before the Breakfast Club starts. You know what I'm saying? Because all you're trying to do is like get some kind of a hard on from listening to Cooley yell at somebody for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Sorry for my French on that, right? Like you're like, okay, if he calls on me, my heart's gonna beat out of my chest. Thank God he called on somebody else. But like the Breakfast Club is so freaking amazing. But if you don't spend 30 minutes to 1 hour a day working on those skills that you were watching for 30 minutes, like, what are you really doing? You're just some guy watching ESPN, watching football and highlights, and you never get to get on the field and play. Like, I hate, you know, I love watching, I've been picking up golf lately. I'm watching golf reels, but I'm watching golf reels because I'm about to go take my ass on the golf course and put it to work. I would never be, that's why I can't watch sports. I'm only going to watch sports that I can actually go and do right now on a regular basis, right? And so
it's like Michelle, how would you feel if you saw some person just watching you work out at the gym? Not even in athletic clothes.
I think that's why she works at home now. So she's probably, you know, she's like, okay, the tripods are facing me now, right? And so like if you are role playing before or after the Breakfast Club, kudos to you, right? But the thing about it is like this is just one aspect because from 7 to 7:30, I'm not talking about, you know, 7:20 to 7:29. I'm talking about from 7 on the dot to about 7:25. Role play with somebody. But see, the problem is, guys, this actually takes you focusing on making more time for your business. So you got to go, okay, well, who this week is going to be my people? Who are going to be my people? Because you need to get really good at not just prospecting for business, but you need to get to prospecting for who is going to work on my skills with me every day. Who's going to work on their skills with me every day, right? And I'm going to identify the people that are the most serious out of pro agent, out of co-founders that are going to role play with me on a daily basis. And if they don't show up, they're fucking dead to me. If they don't pay attention and they don't make sure that my time and their time is valuable, then like, that's it, baby. Like, go prove it to somebody else, but I'm not going to mess around with you. And so you have to have very high standards for yourself. But if you're not even trying to role play 30 minutes before the Breakfast Club, then like, what are you doing? And this is just one aspect of your business. We haven't even made it out of the first hour of real estate today, right? And so from 7 to 7:30, you are stopping 3 feet from gold if you are not actually applying what you're learning in the Breakfast Club to role play with somebody else. And then you hop in that Breakfast Club. Now, where could I be stopping 3 feet from gold with the Breakfast Club? How many of you get on the Breakfast Club and are there every day, but you're not raising your hand to be the person for Cooley to call on? You should be messaging Cooley the night before. You better call on me, bitch. You better call on me. You better call on me. You better call on me. But in reality, you're full of shit. You're just scared. You want him to yell at somebody else for 30 minutes, right? And so, excuse my French, but this is reality, right? So the person who wants it the baddest is going to be, hey, Cooley, I want you to call on me. I don't care if they get annoyed that you call on me every single day and they want to see you do this with somebody else. Call me, right? Do I participate by just watching, or do I participate by showing the effort that I actually want to be a part of the role play? Now, from 8 to 11, 8 to 12, I'm prospecting, right? Well, how often is our energy really hot from 8 to 9, right? Raise your hand. From 8 to 9, baby, we just started. We got to the Breakfast Club. We got to get this thing going, right? But then 10 o'clock hits, 10:30 hits, 11 o'clock hits. You're looking at your goddamn emails. You're looking on social media. I check this stuff, guys. I'll post a story, and I see half of you guys look at my story during the prospecting hours, and I do it on purpose.
I do that too.
I'm like, you guys suck.
I do that too.
Yeah. You see this shit all the time, right? And so it's like, well, what are you doing? You're not paying attention. And, I don't know what Cooley's idea is on some of these things, but like, I'm against dialers, because when people use dialers, they're always doing other things. Our agents who get the highest contact rate with ProAgent and get the highest amount of appointments are hand dialing in most cases. And they have to focus, because you get so much more out of the conversation when you're calling people and you're going, okay, well, I just hand dialed the last 150 people. I better get me something out of this, versus you checking emails, taking calls from clients, and while you're doing mojo. That's why I think you got to focus. So what you need to do is you need to put yourself in this position where every hour I do a checkup from the neck up. Okay, what did I get from 8 to 9? Okay, I got an appointment. I got 11 contacts. I'm going good. What is my goal for the next hour? This is what I'm going to do. 55-minute increments of going nonstop. I'm not bullshitting. Guys, set your voicemail up and say, hey, it's Chris with ProAgent, or hey, it's Chris with EXP. If you're calling me between the hours of 8 to 12, I'm on the phone looking for buyers for my sellers and sellers for my buyers. I return calls at 1 p.m. or this time or that time. Set the expectations. Stop being the errand boy, the errand girl for your clients, because all you're doing is trying to look busy. You're trying to feel like you're doing something that's adequate, but all you're doing is just putting retention in your business, and you're not building your business from 8 to 12. And so at 10 o'clock, at 11 o'clock, a lot of times I'll watch somebody do lead follow-up, and I'm like, what do you do from 11 to 11:30? I do lead follow-up. Bullshit. You're microwaving food. You're going to the restroom. You're walking around. You're on your phone. Like, if it says prospecting in your schedule, what should you be doing? If it says lead follow-up in your schedule, what should I be doing, right? And so from 8 to 12 or from 7 to 12, I think there's times where you're just falling a little bit short from all the success that you could be having. And that's going to happen with that role play in the morning before the Breakfast Club. And I'm talking about, guys, like you should be mimicking how Cooley is. He's really setting it up for you to do your own Breakfast Club with somebody else. Oh, they start sounding like shit. Nope. Stop. Drop that shit. Start it over. We're getting better. We're refining it. We're getting really good on our toes, right? And then that Breakfast Club happens. And then I got to make sure at 11 o'clock, I'm just as hot as I am at 8:05, right? I got to finish just as strong. You got to want to be the person who starts first at everything, but you want to be the person who finishes the best. I always think, you guys seen that video where the two guys are like walking to the finish line and that one guy just runs right through them and gets through, to the finish line first? I think about that because those guys thought, oh, we're winning. You could win from 8 to 10, but you could be losing from 10 to 12, right? Yeah. And so that's my pitch on the morning. I need to identify in the morning where I am stopping 3 feet from gold. Cooley, if you have anything on the morning before I go to early afternoon, it'd be great.
No, I love that, Chris. And just to kind of second when you're talking about the auto dialer versus like the manual dialing, um, everybody that I know, every agent that I know who switches from like just normally dialing to like a three line dialer, right? Their production always dips every single time. And the funny thing is, because of what the auto dialer is telling them, right? Regardless of their results, they always feel like they're being a lot more efficient because the computer tells them that they are. So that they'll never give it up. In fact, we've got a girl on this call, and I won't mention her name, but like 3 years, 4 years later, she's still using a three line dialer, and she does half the amount of transactions that she did before, but you can't convince them like, hey, do you remember this time, right?
Yeah,
And it's something else. But
it's
yeah,
true.
so that's really important. I like how you said that the emphasis of the practice outside of the breakfast club, right? And the intentional prospecting every single day. It's not I prospect while I do this, right? Or I prospect while I'm checking my email. Like you've got to be dialed in as if that's the sport that you're playing right now. How ridiculous would you look if you were playing basketball and football at the exact same time? Like that's crazy. And you wouldn't get the results that you wanted. You know what I mean?
No, you wouldn't.
Prospecting is an individual sport. And I love the emphasis on the morning routine because your morning routine either creates really good problems for you or it's the cornerstone that leads to the rest of your business plan, right?
Yeah.
And so when you have a productive morning, you start generating business. When you start generating business and you start generating a lot of it, well, then you have to have things like systems. You have to have processes, otherwise you fall apart. So to be like the most badass agent imaginable, it all starts with what you do between that 7 a.m. and that 11 a.m. That will lead to you getting efficient at everything else. But if your morning is your biggest problem, then your production will always be your biggest problem for the rest of your real estate career. Chris?
Yeah, and so when it like for example, I don't mean that you may not be making contacts at 10:30 or 11 o'clock. It's the level. If I was to say, hey, on a level of 1 to 10, what is your enthusiasm, your energy, your confidence at 10:45 in the morning? Is it different than it was at 8 o'clock after you got off the Breakfast Club? If it is anything lower, then you are self-sabotaging yourself. Those contacts are not as good as the other ones were. And so if your energy and your confidence and your enthusiasm is down, you're not that good at selling yourself on the opportunity on the next call. You're like, oh, I'm getting beat up this morning. I haven't set appointments. You're just selling yourself on this bullshit. And you should actually go, thank God a lot of these calls have been shit so far. That means the next one's probably the one. Somebody cusses you out, it's the next one. It's the next one. It's the next one. And start double dialing these people, guys. If people get off the phone with you and you feel like, you know what, not today, I'm calling that person back, you need to get in that kind of mentality so you get that dog in you, you know? And so you could be making a good amount of context in the morning. It's what is that energy and that enthusiasm and that confidence at? It needs to be high. The next thing to kind of finish off the morning is like, the difference between the 100 contact a week agent and the 200 contact a week agent is that the 200 contact a week agents prospect in the afternoon and you're not prospecting in the afternoon. And so the person who is a 200 contact a week agent, they're thinking, okay, number one, my quality of conversation is going up because I'm making twice as many calls in a week as everybody else. My learning curve, it's just speeding, it's going great, right? However, I'm going from 32 contacts in the morning because my conversations are longer. Now I'm having 25. However, if you can get over 25 contacts in the morning, right? Then to get 40 in the afternoon is only an hour and a half. But if you get 10, 15 contacts in the morning, you're like, fuck, I got to go prospect for 3 hours in the afternoon. And then you're never going to do it because you're not used to doing it and you don't have anybody to do it with. Right? And so you're trying to get as many contacts and appointments in the morning so that if you only need to do something in the afternoon, maybe it is only an hour. And maybe your afternoon does get a little bit busier, so you need to maximize on that hour. Well, if you keep on getting too little done in the morning, then you're putting too much on your plate for the afternoon, and then this thing just starts building up, and then you go, oh, prospecting doesn't work. No, you don't work, right? And so let's talk about the early afternoon. If you do not have an assistant, You need to be very clear and confined with how you're working on your transactions, right? And so besides the fact of working on transactions, if you're in a position where you are not getting at least 7 out of 10 of your listing appointments to sign a contract with you, if you really think that you shouldn't be role playing your listing presentation Monday through Friday, not Monday, not Wednesday, not Friday, I'm talking about Monday through Friday, and you have this idea about yourself, like you're gonna be this 30, 50, 70 plus deal a year person, but your presentation skills are that of a 5 deal a year person, then you have to commit to going, okay, well, am I willing to do a listing presentation role play every single day? Guys, this only takes an hour. This takes an hour, 30 minutes for you to do yours, 30 minutes for the other agent to do theirs. And the reason why this is beneficial is because, you know, Mike Ferry said this a long time ago. I'll do a Mike Ferry plug. But it makes a lot of sense. He goes, agents who close less than 30 deals a year have a poor presentation. And it always stuck with me because they just do not know how to present at a high level. And so if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I sold 20 homes last year, you suck at a presentation. You're not good. And you need to understand that you're not good so that you can get better at it, right? And so would I commit myself to doing that for an hour a day? The flip side of that is way too many of you are not in the position of a seller, which means, hey, I don't really understand what a seller's thinking. Well, how often are you able to role play for another agent and you're the seller? You're the one giving the objections. You're the one putting all the stop signs up in front of the agent, getting used to that the psychology of a seller. Some of you on this call, you never even bought a house before. You don't even own a house. You're renting, and that's cool. But you don't even know how it really feels to be a seller. I was talking to one of you guys earlier, I'm not going to mention, but it's like I can tell the versatility is off. Over 50% of the people that he meets with were analytical. Well, people are broken down into 4 groups. 10% of people are drivers, and then it's 30% expressive, 30% amiable, and 30% analytical. Well, I need to be more versatile. I need to understand what kind of sellers are out there. Hey, you know what? Today, I'm going to be a seller, but I'm going to be an amiable seller even though I'm an analytical, because you need to start understanding how an amiable is going to be thinking. So the 30 minutes of you being the agent is powerful, but it's also just as powerful to spend 30 minutes as the seller. And am I willing to do that 5 days a week until I am a 50 deal a year producer if that's my goal? Because if you're going to say, no, I'm not willing to do that, you're never going to be a 50 deal a year producer.
Chris, but I do 20 deals a year and I don't have time.
Next person. No, I'm kidding. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing with your time?
It's funny how, but no, my point is it's typically your agents who do below 20 transactions a year that will say the shit like I don't have time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you take a look at the agents who do 50, 60, 100 deals a year and they have time. Right. So it either comes down to you really don't want to practice your presentation. You're up your own ass and you just think that you're awesome at it right now, even though your numbers don't dictate that. Oh, but you probably don't track your conversion numbers too. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing 20 deals a year, right? And so we've got to prioritize all of the things that help us do a lot more business, right?
Yeah.
Listing presentation, got to role play it. If not, bare minimum, at least 3 times a week. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm being crazy with my 5, but I'm telling you, like, hey,
I'm a 5 guy myself.
You know,
I'm a 5 guy too.
You know, and the reason why I say it is like, what else are you really doing with your time? I watch somebody in the office pick their nose for an hour and a half, and I'm like, you could have been doing something, dude. Something could have happened, right? And so, you know, go ahead, Michelle.
I was just going to say it should be every day. If you're not on an appointment, you're practicing your presentation.
Yeah.
Every single day, 5 days a week, period. Like it's a non-negotiable. If you want to get good, that's the question. Do you want to become a master presenter? That's our job, if you think about it, right? You want to be a good listing agent, your job is to become a master presenter. It means every day I practice what I'm supposed to be really good at if I'm not on appointments. If you're on an appointment today, cool, you're practicing, you're doing it. Tomorrow, you're doing a presentation. It's the only thing we should be working on.
DP.
And just what he talked about real quick, like if you think about the amount of discipline that it takes to role play every morning, to breakfast club every morning, to prospect with intent every morning, to practice your listing presentation every day, like realistically on this call, don't lie, raise your hand if you are not doing all of these things right now. Like raise your hand, no shame in your game. Raise your hand if you're not doing that right now. Okay. And that's the majority of the industry, right? I would say, and I think Chris would agree with me here, that about 10% of agents are actually doing this. And you know the funny thing about that? 10% of the agents do 90% of the business because only 10% of people are willing to do the things that need to be done in order to like levitate above everybody else, right? So are these things fun? Most people would say no. For somebody like me, who's competitive, who wants to build the kind of life that I want for me and my family, it's yes, it is fun. Yes, competing is fun. Yes, winning is fun. Where it becomes not fun is when you keep fucking losing all over and over and over and over again. You stay in the same spot over and over and over and over again. That's why real estate is not fun. Real estate becomes fun when you're constantly winning, constantly improving, challenging yourself every single week, and gaining ground every single month. You know what I mean? That's when real estate becomes fun and it stops becoming a job and it becomes more like a sport and a career, which is ultimately, I think, what everybody on this call wants. Chris?
Yeah, so like I'm just gonna pull somebody's name up here. Like I see Mr. Adam Fawcett, right? So he's kind of I've seen him make some faces where he's being honest, where he's like, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing this, right? I want Adam to like let it be Adam be the example, right? Adam, if you're going to a listing presentation today, and you know that I've role played my presentation 200 days this year, what are you thinking? How confident are you going to be going against me on that presentation this afternoon?
I'm not gonna hold a flame to you.
I'm fucking eating you for lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And so, like, this is what I want you to guys. Imagine, like, that's the fucking power that doing the goddamn work is going to do for you. Some of you are in the same position. Like, some of you get this, like, and you know, again, excuse my French. Some of you guys are here for like motivation porn. You're here, you get coolly and you're here and you're like, yeah, this gets me pumped up. But then next week you do the same bullshit you did this week and you keep stopping short from all the results, right? Just imagine how crazy it would be if you're like, dude, the people that have to go against me have to go against a goddamn savage. Somebody who's been role playing and working on their skills for 2 hours a day. Somebody who makes 400 outbound calls a day. Somebody who's going out there and doing, if I got an appointment, I'm making calls on the way to my appointment. I'm doing lead follow-up. Hey, I just got this listing. I don't care if you're going to list with me. I'm going to go knock around every door around your listing just to show you what kind of guy I am, right? Like, you will feel like a superhuman of real estate. You'll feel like you have these superpowers, and somebody's going to go, how'd you get these superpowers? And you're just going to go, discipline. I just do this shit. And then one day you're never going to have to do any of this stuff because the business is going to come to you because you're actually made yourself who you wanted to be from putting all that effort in, right? And so the role play, guys, you know, and what I want Dylan to do, Dylan, go to the Pro Agent World, download the 6-step listing presentation role play guide, and I want you to put that download in the chat. And I want everybody to download that. That is a 6-step process that I'll give you for free that you can follow for yourself. And it sets everything up because what you really want to do, guys, if you're not going on appointments all the time, you need to start creating scenarios based on the people that you are going after. What I mean by that is this. I'm calling expireds. Well, what are some scenarios for an expired? Oh, they're getting a divorce. Oh, they're downsizing. Oh, they're upsizing. Oh, they're doing relocation. Oh, they're doing this. And several different listing appointments may have several different scenarios at play for the same appointment, right? And so what you want to do is you want to get really good at creating some scenarios. And then when you're actually going on a ton of appointments, you can take those appointments and then you could refine those and you can utilize those for role plays. And then what you do is you go, hey, Matt Walker, tomorrow we're going to do that role play. We'll do it through Zoom. I'm going to send you an email based on the scenario. And I want you to give me 7 objections around these objections that I'm giving you in this scenario. So now he's prepared to be a bullish seller with you. And then you're prepared to be a badass agent. And then when you actually go on the real presentation that afternoon, they're not mad. They're not giving you 8 objections. Maybe they give you 1 or 2, but you practice so hard. You're like, damn it, I hope they give me some objections. You know what I mean? But most of you hope that everything goes too smooth. And we know that the calls that go too smooth, those are the ones that ghost you. The ones that give you a yes on the phone too easy are the ones that give everybody a yes. You actually want to get good at converting the assholes. See, the assholes actually have standards. The assholes are tired of real estate agents because you suck, right? So like you actually have to be above these things and go, hey, that's all my best clients that refer to me the most business are the people that almost wanted to fight me over the phone. You know what I mean? The ones that, because, and I have this client, I always talk about him, Paul Cleckley. And I just got a referral from him this morning, $600,000. He's 7'2", and he was like, if I meet you, I'll probably whoop your ass. And I said, this is my address. Come and whoop my ass. In 5 minutes, he signed a contract. And he's referred me like 16 people in the last 10 years. I probably made $300,000 just from him. He came from a $90,000 condo. And everybody I get from that guy, he goes, Paul hates everybody. And I have an aunt in the business. My mom's an agent. My cousin this. My brother does this. But if you're the only person I've ever heard Paul talk good about. So you got to stop wanting to get the easy people. You want to start getting good with the harder people because they're the ones that actually have some place to be. But they got pissed off because the house didn't sell, right? And so
they've got skin in the game. They're emotionally attached to the outcome. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
That's why we role play so hard to get through to those people, because those are going to be the people that you're going to be the only one out there actually going on the listing presentation, and they're going to respect the shit out of you because you're the one who is willing to drop the bullshit and actually speak to them like a person. And those are the people that are actually going to refer you business because you're going to get the job done in a sea of people who they perceive as valueless. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
And so
No
you're
doubt.
absolutely right about that.
They smell it. They smell the bullshit. They smell when somebody's like, "Hi, I'm calling about." Come on, get out of here with that shit, right? So let me try to finish because I know we know we don't have enough time to kind of go crazy on the rest of it. So hey, that midday, you got to identify. I got to write this thing out. Where am I falling short? Outside of doing administrative duties that I tell myself I have to do, even though I have no listings or I have 2 listings, it's like how much shit you really got to do, right? Am I doing a presentation 3 to 5 days a week? If I'm not, then I actually have to get ahead of the curve and I got to go, hey, who are my people that I can do this with? And you need to get your people a week in advance, okay? Hey, I'm booking up for this next week for role plays for the morning and for the afternoon LP, the listing presentation. And it's going to benefit you if you all just get on the same page with the same listing presentation. I'll tell you that. If everybody's doing different listing presentations and you're just yapping and you're not asking questions, it's probably not going to be that great. But working on it will do something. Outside of that, it's the afternoon. Where am I stopping 3 feet from gold? The great agents, if they do not have an appointment to go on, they are going to lead generate for at least 1 or 2 hours. And so you're stopping 3 feet from gold by not doing the new calls in the afternoon and not finishing any type of round of lead follow-up in the afternoon. Okay, in that evening, that 5 to 7 window, and some people coolly would go, "Oh, well, I'm busy from 5 to 7." But if they had $1 million listing appointment at 5 o'clock, they'd go, "Kids, get the fuck out of the car! I got an appointment to get to." Right? But they won't do that for themselves to go create that appointment, right? Because they're just trying to get lucky. And so I just want you to start lining out your regimen, and I think for some people on the call, maybe your regimen is not like what Cooley and I and Michelle are talking about here, but you'll realize that 80% of your time needs to be around growing and building your business, which is going to be lead generating. You're either knocking on the door or making the call. And so from that 8 to 12, you got to lock that in. The early afternoon, handle your business for what you got to do some type of a role play. But if you don't have any kind of real listing presentation or buyers to show in the afternoon, can I commit to making the calls for 2 hours? At some point, like what Cooley was talking about earlier, you're spending so much time doing the right things that you'll be calling me, you'll be calling Cooley, you'll be calling Michelle. Hey, I got to solve this problem. I got to figure this shit out.
Help me.
Yeah, help me. You know what I mean? And hey, one cool thing, Cooley, I've never had anybody do 200 contacts a week for 3 months that didn't start getting fucking tons of listings and tons of business. It never happens. It's never happened before.
It's never happened in the history of real estate. Never happened.
Yeah, but they'll make 50 to 100 contacts a week for 3 years and sell no houses. You know what I mean? And because most of before, I think a while back, guys, you could make less contacts and be more successful. The problem is people's attention spans are too skewed with social media and technology. You got to make more calls. You got to follow up more. People go, "Oh, I don't want to follow up too much." I'm telling you, they already forgot about you, right? So hopefully you guys like this message. Can I do a quick plug? Because I'm going to have some of your people on. I'm going to launch a podcast here in a few days. And I want people to be a part of it. Can I talk about that?
Plug it in, Chris. Don't ask for permission. Ask for forgiveness.
There you go. So, hey, guys, number one, if you're not following me on Instagram, Texas Real Estate Goat, follow me. I'll follow you back. If I haven't followed you back, send me a DM, call me an asshole. I'll follow you back. Sometimes I just get lost in the sauce. Number two, on YouTube, if you go to ProAgent podcast. Well, it's ProAgent. There is a thing called ProAgent Podcast. I don't know how to log back into it. It's from 2 years ago. My bad. I'll figure it out one day. But if you go to the regular ProAgent channel, I just did a podcast with Ashley Deep and Patrick Cotto. These are 2 agents that have been in the business around 2 years that are already on track to take 40 or more listings in 2024. So when you're sitting here going, I've been in the business for 28 years and I've never sold more than 10 homes in a year, these are two people that have no business doing what they're doing right now, but they are. And that's what's beautiful about it. They're 2 to 3 years in the business, right? Number two on this is that I just wrapped up one with Matt Griverts and Nick Troney. It is gold, and I'm going to be launching it here in a few days. You're going to see it, so be on the lookout for that. Go follow Pro Agent on YouTube. If I don't see you, I will track you down, and I will find you, okay?
I love it. Hey, and I want to thank you for being here, Chris. And one of the reasons why I wanted you on here today is just for the simple fact that I saw all of these same guys in 2023, right? I know how hard it was. I know that it was difficult. And I know that as it gets easier to get business, the natural human reaction isn't to double down and go, wow, what an opportunity. I'm going to do a lot more. It's now that it's become easier, I'm just going to take what's coming to me, right? Because I'm doing some deals now. Everything's okay. And so we've got to build our business to the point where we don't ever have to look back, right? If the market tilted again today, are you fucked? Are you doing okay? Right?
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to that question. I've noticed complacency with tracking sheets. I've noticed people showing up to the Breakfast Club at like 7:35, 7:40. That's not the kind of culture we have. It's 7:29 culture. And so right now, we've got to get back to number one, making sure that we're not being coached on the basics, right? Nobody's having to tell me that I've got to show up every day. Standard. Nobody's telling me that I've got to be practicing my role plays. Standard. Nobody's got to be telling me that I got to prospect and turn in my tracking sheets. Standard. All of this stuff is standard. And when you get to the position where you stop having dumb coaching conversations of why won't you show up? Why won't you prospect? Are you role playing? Man, your conversations, your coaching goes to a different level. Okay. Now, Michelle has got her foot on the gas. Chris Hardy has got his foot on the gas. I've got my foot on the gas. Agent attraction, production, coaching, we're going all in. And I just wanted to extend the invitation to all of you guys to get up off your asses and to go all in with us, right? Go all in with us on your production. Go all in with us on your agent attraction. And let's build a fucking lifestyle for ourselves, guys, that most people in this industry will never achieve. Never. Ever. At the end of their real estate career, they'll be struggling to do 20 deals while you've got a business, a passive income that you never have to look back on that's going to provide for you and your family forever. But it comes down to ultimately, am I going to do the basics? Should I coach you guys on the basics? Yes or no?
Yep.
No? Okay. And am I going to do the basics with excellence? You do that, man. Opening the gates to higher level conversations. We've got really three types of people, right? Number one, it's the type of person that goes like this and says, man, I don't need this shit. I don't need people to talk to me like this. Not a high producer, I promise. Right?
Yeah.
And those are the exact people that, who cares? Okay. Then you have the type of people who are like, man, this is great. This is great. Fucking yes. Click off. I'm going to do the same shit that I've always done. I'm going to be the same person I've always been. I'm not going to take any extraordinary action. I'm not going to take any steps after this meeting to actually implement and do the things that Chris Hardy was talking about. Even though he's got muscles, even though he talks like a fucking savage, I'm still going to do nothing, right? That just guarantees you that here next year, you're going to be the same person, listening to the same message, having the same fucking feelings, right? We can't be that guy, right? And then there's the third. And that's the person that's like, you know what? I am kind of tired of this shit right now, right? Where I'm at right now, the success that I'm having right now, even though it's okay, I want to be great. I want to be excellent. And so all of these things he's talking about today, I'm going to go out there and implement. I'm going to take seriously. And the cool thing about people like myself, Michelle, and Chris is that if you do these things, if you take if you take the pursuit of excellence seriously, we will let you take 100% of the blame for your lack of success and place it solely on our fucking shoulders. And we'll do whatever we can to help push you in the right direction and make sure that come hell or high water, you're having success, right? And so if you want to blame somebody else justifiably for your lack of production, then go out there, master the basics, pursue these things with excellence, then place it on us. Hey guys, you need to fix this shit because I'm doing all this and I'm not seeing it. Those are conversations, Chris, that I love to have. Michelle, those are conversations that I know that you love to have. I'm doing everything right, guys. I just need, I need to identify the one thing that's stopping me from progressing, and we'll have those conversations with you guys all day long. Are you guys fired up today? Are you guys ready to get going? Are you guys ready to light shit up today? Lots of cuss words on this call.
Sorry.
Hell
And
yeah,
that
brother.
if you put Chris Hardy and I in the same room, like it'll come with a parental, what do they call those? Parental advisories. Because we're going to slang the F word around like it's our job. It's our personalities, guys. It's not every call, but just expect it. I want all of you guys on the Breakfast Club tomorrow, 729 Culture. Let's take care of it this week. Invite people to the events and Builders Call on Thursday. If you like rev share, if you like passive income, be on that Builders Call because we got some more juice for you. Follow-up systems that are going to do a lot of the job for you. Be on that call Thursday, 12 o'clock. Thanks for joining, guys, and give it up for Chris Hardy.
Thank you, guys. Hey,
Let's
guess what,
go.
guys?
Thank you, brother.
Hey, get back on the
Links in
fucking
chat,
phones.
guys. Links in the chat, guys. How